Bear World. Why Bear World? The winding aorta snaking its way to this nation's grand parks is always an interesting road, but that's a gripe for another time. My sets were set towards the hayfields swaying in the summer breeze, far removed from this mountain madness. Once the gravel pops hit, things were mostly quiet on this sleepy Saturday morning. Outside of a few jumpy deer, I didn't see another car on my way in. Oh, and did I mention this was a Saturday? Not that I expected to see any, it's just nice to coast through clear roads all the way to the river. Well, the canyon light has yet to touch the water, so we're in good time, and I'm gonna hike up and yeah, hopefully have a nice full day here on the Teton. Well, this looks like it might be the first river crossing of the day, unless we're to go up and over, but I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna try and see what I can't do here and how deep I go. The morning off right. Yep, there he goes. Well, he fought back. Just a little stonefly dredge for the morning. I don't see them coming up too much on the dry fly. Anytime before the sun hits the water, and then even after that it could take a little while. So starting off with the adjustable dry dropper as always, but most of my faith is in that nymph. They're surely fired up. Nope, there he goes. See you, pal. I'm gonna try and slow down a little bit and be very strategic about this run, because this is prime water. I know there's big fish in here, and I kind of messed it up over there. I had one. Just couldn't get him to stay pinned, but yeah, I'm gonna pick this apart and hopefully get onto these bigger fish. That was a big fish. Okay. A little diplodocus, a little diplodoinkus. Nope, he's off. Prior to this trip, when I was looking at the map, it's spots like this that really stick out. This big open water is kind of the whole reason behind lugging around my trout space setup, and I was getting quite a few ticks at the end of my line, but every single strip set was met with no resistance on my intruder hook. Slightly annoying, yeah, but that's why I elect to carry 2 rods. Well, I had a few bites with the trout spay, but nothing wanted to stick, unfortunately, so I'm one-trick pony going back to the dry drop. Sometimes all it takes to really hone in that bite is a smaller approach and a solid drift. And with the sun now out, I could really get a good look at the cutthroat that called this canyon home. For that being one of the smaller fish on the day, I can't even really begin to complain. Until next time, pal. Now, even though the rocks in the canyon aren't too slick, you've got to respect the current. This is especially true when you're running things solo like myself. Since this is far from my first rodeo, my confidence is a bit higher than it should be, and my strong legs, they haven't failed me yet. Overall, I would highly recommend avoiding wading out this far, even if you think it's gonna land you that extra fish. Even in the summer heat, cold water and powerful currents aren't a friendly combo. Getting swept away by this wild river just isn't worth it, I promise you that. Well, my morning ratios have not been the best. I've missed a couple of really big fish, and I guess you can see that as good news too, because there's big fish in this section, and they're moving, so I guess you gotta take the good with the bad. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on chugging. The sun finally hit the canyon, and hopefully these fish start waking up and really launch down. A well-placed double haul uprooted yet another spectacular fish. Tough to tell on first glance, but it looked like a lovely cutbow to me. All speckled up, this skinny fish had that signature red blushing cheek and lateral line of its majority rainbow ancestors. Like it had never happened, he snaked back into the current and disappeared forever. My buddy Nick would be so proud of me. Still the whitefish warden, baby. Get out of here. There he goes. He good. He gone. With their pointed shovel nose and torpedo-like bodies, I've noticed that whitefish are much more likely to be hanging around the faster sections of the Teton. I mean, it makes sense to me. More oxygen and an absolute conveyor belt worth of food rolling in all day long. It's clear their bodies are so well adapted, and a bit of turbid water is of no real consequence to them. It's really wild how much this canyon changes. This is all just kind of dead frog water. It's been like this for a little while. I mean, there's still fish in here, but not that I can get to. And this is so big, so deep. Impressive, but man, hard to fish if you're on two legs. Whew. It'd probably be better if I had my actual snake gaiters with me, but I'm gonna put my neoprene socks up a little bit and hopefully avoid any bites, at least in the upper calf area. This should be thick enough with enough socks. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. I don't like snakes. Well, I don't like rattlesnakes. I like snakes. When I'm moving around the rim, there's always plenty of proof of mountain lion activity. But right next to falling off a damn cliff, I think these guys right here still scare me the most. Just little landmines tucked into a fateful rock. You just gotta watch your step. Gotta keep your eyes open, ears too, when you're walking down here, folks. And speaking of walking, boy howdy, that was a long stroll. And the leftovers of someone's lunch didn't make me feel like this was the best omen. This was partly the gamble that had me worried about some of the lower sections here on the Teton Canyon. On the maps, you can see some lovely riffle sections separated by long portions of dead water, and I mean long. Between the thistle and sharp angles, you just need to remain patient and hold a good pace. My slightly negative tone, it's not meant to dissuade, it's more so meant to be a healthy warning. It's a necessary evil if you want to find yourself smack dab in the middle of some of the higher concentrations of fish. That's a rainbow. That's a big old rainbow. Come here, you red-sided son of a gun. Nice fish. Yee-haw. Look at you. Come here, Stinky. Give me that back. Yeah. Now it looked like Buddy had like a sliver, teeny tiny sliver of cutthroat in him, but he was mostly rainbow. Big red sides. I mean, he was blushing pretty good. But it's a little weird to see. I don't know how I should feel. I'm happy that it's a nice fish, but this is such a nice cutthroat fishery. It seems silly to be stocking fish and having non-natives like rainbows in here. It's, I don't know, not my job, not my concern, I suppose. So yeah, I think we should find a couple more fish in here, hopefully. Stonefly's putting in work because the trout spade doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I saw him come up and rise for it. That's crazy. Nah, that's a cutty. Hell yeah, that's a nice cutty. These are the ones we've been missing as of recent. Oh, and I guess it's time to take a seat. Oh, slipped right there. Perfect. Now I look like a fool if I miss this fish. Oh, and I'm wanting to. Nice, nice. Great fish. Oh, yeah. Look at you, Magoo. Now, to some of you out there, you may be looking at this fish and wondering, hey Mike, that's not a Yellowstone cutthroat. That's so obviously a Snake River fine-spotted cutty. Just look at all those spots. And to that I'd say close, but no cigar. They really do look similar in appearance, and for a long time, I kind of thought the same. But luckily for me, a friend of the channel reached out and told me the real tale behind these strange spots, because it's not just isolated to this here cutthroat. We can see it in other cutthroat, these rainbows, some of the cutbows, and even the occasional brook trout. Folks, let me introduce you to black spot disease, also referred to as Naseous infection. This isn't some sort of fungus or weird genetic deformity. Nope, all this is caused by a microscopic parasite, a digenine trematode to be exact. And let me explain a bit more. The life cycle of parasites are oftentimes strange and somewhat disturbing the further you dig into their story, and this little flatworm that gives the trout at the Teton a weird paying job is no exception to that. The best place to start would be when a fish with black spot disease gets eaten by any avian predator, that being eagles, osprey, or herons. They're always flying up and down this canyon looking for a quick meal. The parasites living on the fish mature in the bird's guts, and it's also where they're able to lay their eggs. From there, the eggs are, well, deposited all throughout the river corridor and hopefully land in a spot in which they can attach themselves to any aquatic snail. Once they mature more in the snail, they release into a free-swimming form in order to attach themselves to a fish who will hopefully be eaten by a predatory bird, again completing its life cycle. Now, in a lot of ways, this parasite isn't exactly hurting the fish directly. The host's response to this intrusion is to encapsulate the flatworm in a melanin covering, thus creating a black cyst in which we see on these fish appearing as spots or speckles. So next time you're out on the water and you see these strange markings, just know your cool speckled up catch is covered in untold numbers of parasitic flatworms that wish you were an eagle and not an angler. Okay, that's more than enough of that. If you have any more interest, I've got some research linked below. It really is kind of a fascinating worm, but for now, let's get back to the fishing. This is a bit closer to what I was hoping for in this section. We've had to work pretty hard to get to where we are right now, and that three fish combo right there, small cutty, rainbow, big cutty, it's pretty awesome. And I think the further we move up here, it's just gonna be hopefully more of the same. So yeah, I'm gonna keep dredging bottom with this killer stonefly. They be hoovering it up, man. I don't know what it is about it. They love it. I finished out the top of this rapid section with one more really nice specimen. Again, solidifying this as a productive spot that was well worth the walk. But as the belly boats and rafts started to make their way downriver, I knew that my day might be reaching its end soon, but I pushed on anyway. Throughout these slower moving sections, I did notice that there were pockets of fish occasionally holding tight to structure, so stopping every now and then to target the sunken boulders or unsuspecting bends did result in the odd fish or two, but I would say this is a far cry from a reliable pattern. These fish were often few and far between. Nice. He's probably gonna flop, but not a bad little filler. Gone. Nice. Makes me feel good. A little two-piece to break up this long walk. Golly. Oh, it's a beaver. Wow. That kind of scared the piss out of me. Whew. What a treacherous stretch there. Good criminelli. That's a long walk. I'm gonna be in trouble if I go back that way. Well, it's seemingly been a while because it has been a while. There we go. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. One by one, the rafters of the day started to round the corner, and a few of them seemed to be wielding a sloppy roll cast. This is where in my mind I have to start making some tough decisions, because any further up, and I may be running into the pressure from earlier in their float, and I usually don't have any issue with that. It's just really not my forte, so to speak. So with the thermals now swirling hard in the strange canyon microclimate, packing up was going to be imminent, and I might as well leave while I was still ahead. With the heat now bearing down strong, I had to smoke them since I had them. One last glug of water would be my only friend as I began this gnarly hike out. Oh, fun is about to begin. Following the deer, man. Get the hell out of here. Come on, we're getting somewhere. Weight forward. Just gotta keep that weight forward. Whew. Yeah, we're moving. We got motion. The burning sensation in my legs and aching in my ankles is by no means an unfamiliar feeling. Hiking out of the Teton Canyon is possible, and I've managed it many times. This afternoon stroll could be considered one of the more mild ones in my time, if that helps put the not so great ones into perspective. Regardless, this was a great day, and I'm already thinking of the next time I can get back. Well, folks, here we are. If you have made it to this point in the video, well, that means it's all over. And all I have to say, like always, is thank you very much. I know it can be kind of a grind. These videos are long, but hopefully you maybe learn something about the fish or learn about the places that they like to swim. Most of all, I just really hope you like the story. I know the YouTube algorithm likes when you watch a video all the way through, when you like it, comment, share, and subscribe, all that stuff. I'm not really in it for that. If you guys enjoy the channel, and if you're new, definitely decide to stick around. I'd love to have you for the next adventure. But before we wrap this whole puppy up, I got to thank a couple folks. As always, the Patreon members. You know, these things aren't free. It takes a lot in terms of resources and time and effort to make this whole thing go. So you folks supporting us, it really does mean the world. And going off of that, any of the File Season partners, it's amazing that you guys are willing to stick your neck out for me and the other members, and yeah, give us the tools we need to go out and film these kind of expeditions. It's really sweet. But yeah, folks, wherever you find yourself, be it in the Wyoming backcountry looking for all 4 species of cutthroat, or in your backyard, I sure hope you keep those feet in the water. And until next time, tight lines.